We're off and running. Diego, as always, you got the goats jerseys behind you over
Yeah.
here. It's we just ran into breaking news
We
right
did.
until like recording the podcast. I did not see this coming personally. Diego, I'll open the floor to your thoughts, but according to Shams, Jason Kidd is not the Mavericks head coach anymore. He got let go by new team president Masai Ujiri. Diego, your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, Jason Kidd has taken us to heights that we haven't seen since I don't want to say early days of Rick Carlisle, but a long time ago with Rick Carlisle. And he is the guy who's helped us get to two conference finals in the past, or a finals and a conference finals in the past 4 years. But I think it's a good move because, in my opinion, I don't think Jason Kidd did anything specifically that amazing, specifically with the defense in 2024 and 2022. That was mostly Sean Sweeney, who is now the defensive kind of coordinator of the Spurs. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I think it's a good just switch up because I think Messiah has a different way of seeing things. He brought on Nick Nurse, who was able to win a championship maybe in his first year, which is a really common thing for head coaches. Not saying that this would happen for the Mavs, especially seeing these last night's game one. But I think it's a good vibe check, kind of switch up. I believe Kid's been in the role since 21 at least, 21 season. So it's been a good stretch, but I think a lot of it has to do with let's get a bit more of a new perspective, right? And not saying anything bad about coach or coaches that were former player coaches, but I feel like there aren't too many in the league that are really that great. I think JB Bickerstaff is actually one, and I don't know, maybe it's more of a roster problem, but I feel like he kind of struggled to go against this doubling Cade theory, and we'll talk about that more. So yeah, we'll see it. Some new blood, fresh meat. Wow,
So what I'm hearing is Doc Rivers is the new Dallas Mavericks head coach.
bro, if Doc Rivers is the Dallas Mavs coach, I'm gonna be so depressed. There's no way
Did you hear some of the stuff Miles Turner said? Like that was just like
about him.
exploding in the media. That was insane.
Like recently,
Yeah,
I
you got to
haven't
go
looked
check it
into it.
out. Like I didn't. I'll
Man,
be honest, I haven't watched the full clips, but from the sounds of it, it's just like Doc would say one thing and then it just would not relate to the players, and then they would just like check out, and then like you'd have people say stuff behind his back, and like
yeah,
Doc would say different things, and people would look weird, and like yeah, it's kind of one of those like toxic situations where it's like, oh yo, that kind of explains why there's so much of Giannis buzz going on right now. Um,
yeah. I
so
was
I yeah, obviously tongue in cheek joke. Um,
man.
I I really do hope the Dallas Mavericks take a close look at like who's their head coach. Maybe Sean Sweeney. He's getting a lot of buzz on the Bulls in particular.
Really? Mm.
So that'd be exciting. Maybe pull from the Celtics tree. They
Yeah.
seem to like pull coaches out of their hats. But yeah, what do you think of the state of the roster? Like, what type of coach would you want, considering you got Cooper Flag, like all these bigs that you've accumulated? Najee Marshall had a fantastic season, like
Yeah.
filling in on like very different spots, and then obviously you always have Kyrie Irving, but then don't forget about young guys like Max Christie and like
Mm.
Marvin Bagley, who's still 27. Like,
Oh,
can somebody like tap into him?
yes.
Like we just saw Cat in the playoffs just completely
Hmm.
turn around his offensive game, even though he's the offensive gifted player. Marvin Bagley has a lot of athletic traits to him that maybe he could be utilized. And I'm not saying he's going to be the difference maker. Like obviously you got PJ Washington, Najee Marshall.
Yeah.
Um, I did not know this. Caleb Martin and Chris Middleton are on the Mavs. Random
Chris.
fact of the day. Ryan Nemhard, like you just drafted him. That there's a mix of intriguing pieces, but obviously
Mm.
um, the direction seems a little bit unclear. Just kind of like two different phases of players. So, what type of coach would you want to coach Cooper Flag and the Mavs?
Yep. I think a few things I'd want is for sure, like I said, a bit more of a younger, maybe not super young coach, but a coach that understands analytics, but I want to focus on defense. A a coach that will not just have one defense in zone. Obviously, you want your base defense, but also some other ideas. With the fact you have Cooper Flag, who is just a defensive menace. Who knows who you draft here, a guard or another defensive menace, and you have an overall really good defensive lineup. So taking advantage of that, but also making an offense that, and the focus on it is just always put your guys in the best positions. And there's if Cooper Fly is a crazy creator, you're gonna have Kyrie Irving. At that point, you just need to set everyone else up in the right spots to really execute, and it won't be the same as Luca, where everyone just stands around. And this could be a chance to have some more movement involved. And I always talk about that. So I think that would be something I'm most excited for. So we'll see. I don't know who, but definitely like think about like Dagnall, um, like Mitch Johnson, two coaches that are really young that have this sort of analytics background. I mean, Missoula even a bit more on that, a bit too analytics based. That might be too much for me, but something like that, a balance, but moving into a future with some kind of innovative thought. Let's say.
But you watch Missoula and like how you also want a guy that can get the most out of the role players. That I
Yeah.
think is stands out with the way the league is headed. And lately, the trend has been defensive principles. Like you have to
Mm.
have a team that goes 100% into the defensive principles. That's what Detroit did
Yeah.
well. That's what the Thunder have been doing well for years. The Spurs are now approaching that area. Like we're seeing this trend where it's like whatever your defensive principles are, fully commit to that in the roster and the assets, despite their offensive limitations, because your team can go far with defense. Um,
Hmm. Yep.
I don't really know. I think we'll know more about where the Mavs go in the direction of their draft
Yeah.
on like what type of coach they were seeking after the fact. This is a weird situation, but you want obviously want first and foremost a guy that can promote Cooper Flag to be a really good overall player in his career.
Yeah.
And that means upgrading the rosters around him and complementing him, but also developing the offensive game of other people so it's not dependent on Cooper Flag. You're seeing that a
Hmm.
lot with like San Antonio, where it's like there's so much attention paid to Wemby, but you forget how good Stephon Castle,
Yeah.
Dylan Harper, like Devin Vassell has moved mountains in this game.
Hmm.
Like I remember we were just considering him as a defensive specialist. And then you
Yeah.
have Julian Champion. Like these guys are all willing defenders, like committing to the principles, but they're also developing their games.
Hmm.
So I think finding a coach like that will be super impactful.
Yep. Excited to see what happens and for the draft.
Yeah. Speaking of, there's three names I want to throw out to you
Mm.
because there's kind of three different directions the Mavs can take given the state of the roster.
Okay.
And I want you to kind of rank these players in order based on your preference.
All right.
So currently in a ESPN mock draft, Mikhail Brown out of
Yeah.
Louisville, I think I'm saying his name right.
Yeah.
He would be projected to the Mavs. Um,
Hmm.
then you got Braden Burries out of Arizona,
Yeah.
another option, and then Yaxel Lendeberg.
Oof. That's a tough one.
Who who do you rank ahead of each other here? Like who's first on your list? Who's like last on your list? Like because they're
Hmm.
all really good, talented players, and I don't think you'll see this in the
Yeah.
draft. Like especially for the end lottery teams, usually you don't see this amount of
Yep.
talent. Um, who would you pick, or would you go
Uh,
with Kareem Lopez? You're probably going to go Kareem Lopez over everybody, but
Kareem
all
Lopez would
kidding
be
aside,
nice. Kareem Lopez would be nice, but uh, well, if it's because he's Latino, Yaxel's also. I think it's confusing. He's Dominican,
he's
but born
Puerto
in Puerto
Rican or
Rico.
Dominican, half right?
Yeah, yeah. It's something he was born in one of them and is like descended of the other, but he's like from New Jersey. I didn't need the whole script there, but I'd put Yaxel last just because you kind of already have him in Cooper Flag, and maybe you want to pull a two J's thing, like Brown and Tatum in
Right.
Boston, which I'm not necessarily against, but if and this isn't exactly like the Rockets, but the Rockets have this problem where they had one point guard, one solid point guard, and he got injured, and that was it. And the Mavs aren't competing, but I also don't want that to be the future where you're depending on one guy, and also, and you could even say, you can even pull up the, what is it, wingflation, where there's just so many more. Everyone wants wings because they're more rare, especially ones that can handle and create, and you can really find guards whenever. There's so many of them. It's so much more common to be 6 feet to 6'5" than 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". But in my opinion, Yaxel is just a bit too redundant, especially when the huge problem for the Mavs right now is we have too many wings and forwards. So he's number 3. I've liked Braden Burries because of his defense, but I'd put him 2 because I think Mikel Brown isn't as amazing of a defender. He's not as stocky or big, but he's fine, and I think his measurements. He's definitely plus. I don't know how much on the wingspan off the top of my head, but he's plus in a good way. And my man dropped 40 something points this year in college. And having a guy like that under the tutelage of Kyrie Irving for a few years, lock. Like that would be so great. He's not a small point guard either. I don't think he's less under 6'3", which I saw a tweet today that all the guards last night were 6'5" and up. So
I think they measured him as 6'3.5" in the combine.
wow, okay, nice. So yeah, I'd put Mikal first. I also heard that that's the type of build Masai likes, but I think, in my opinion, I do like Bray. I think we'd pick Mikal if that's what's available, but I'd low key like Braden a little bit more just for the defense because, right, once Kyrie's gone, you got Ryan Nembhard's definitely not starting. He might barely be a bench guy because he's so small. I don't want to get into that situation where you're too small and have a good defense. Like you won't having everything buttoned up would be so nice. Yeah. So it's
And I
probably gonna
think the thing
go.
with him too is like he's Klay Thompson's still on the roster. So like
Yeah.
just like the Kyrie Irving argument, like what better ability to develop your shooting game from like
Hmm.
one of the best to ever do it in Klay
Yeah.
Thompson. So like I think you could easily make the argument for Barry's. I think the case for Yaxel is he can guard all 5 positions. So
Yeah.
like
He's
you have
huge.
that out there, and he can defend the opposing point guard, and you don't have any worries about that. And I think you need more of that, like in today's league. So
Yeah.
I do hear you because you got Najee, you got Cooper Flag, and you got all these bigs. Whereas like,
Hmm.
what is like Jackson Lindenberg fall in that? And considering the point guard problem, that would be a higher priority. But then I'd also caution to look at free agency, see who
Yeah.
doesn't get signed up. Like the Thunder have a huge problem with cap space right now.
Yeah.
Like, would you rather have Case and Wallace and Yaxel Landenberg if you could have both on that team?
Hmm.
Or would you want to go Mikhail Brown and then try to find a middle of the road wing
Mm.
because everybody is targeting wings primarily? Like
Yeah.
OG Anunoby is about to get like serious buzz. I don't
Hmm.
think he's a unrestricted free agent. I have to check, but like
In the future, at some point.
see,
Yeah.
at some point, people want to trade for him. They'll look at the years of this contract and be like, okay, we'll take that for 2 years because we're
Hmm.
going to win now window or something. So my point is, the wings are going to be hard to come by in free agency, and when you see a guy like
Yep.
this out, like I think you have to look at it considerably and not rule out the free agency avenue. Where it's like, okay, do we need somebody just in case Kyrie gets hurt? Oh, let's
Yeah.
have Casey Wallace in. Like that's just an example of a guy, but
Yep. And I think the last thing I point uh that I forgot to make about Lindenberg is that I think he's older than Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels has been in the league at least 3 years.
no way.
That I'm gonna check right now.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
Yaxel Lindenberg. Oh, age. Jaden. Oh my God, Jaden McDaniels age.
Lenneberg is 24.
And no, Jaden McDaniels is 1 year older. I capped. Oh, here's
But I feel
23.
like McDaniels has been in the league for so long.
I know.
So
Okay, he's older than someone, but doesn't matter. He's old is my point. He's 23 years old. That's 4 years that you kind of like. Cooper Flag is 19.
well, what are you trying to say about us, Diego? Jeez.
I'm already feeling like Unc, my boy. Like I feel so much like Unc sometimes.
Oh my God.
So
All
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Age.
I mean, interesting case study. I think it's at the end, I'd probably have to agree with Mikal Brown. I think that's the
Yeah.
safest pick you'd have to go. But if I'm
Yeah.
looking at best player available, I'd argue Landenberg gives you a higher upside, considering like
Possible.
how difficult it will be to like go up against a physical, long, lengthy defense that can also
Mm,
like switch and play. Like I like Mikal Brown, but he's also
yeah.
190 pounds.
Yeah.
Like
That's
you
nothing.
think you think LeBron is not going to want to switch on him next season all the
Yeah.
time, and like Luka's going to pick on him, like just these bigger body players, like
Mm,
that's a problem. You're not doing that on Yaxel as much, maybe because he's a
yeah.
rookie, but like I
Bert.
don't know. I think the league is headed to like a situation where you need to be a willing
Yeah.
and you got to have mass as a defender to be able to handle these physical styles because the league is going back to like, okay, we have non-shooters, doesn't matter, we'll just draw fouls. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I think Burries is better in that sense. I think he's like 215 or something. So just
that's a good
those
point too.
25 pounds is huge, right? So we'll see.
Terrace Reed with like a word. I'm
Here's Reed, another mountain of a man.
not suggesting the Mavs should get him. I'm just saying like he's the
Yeah.
one guy that stood out in the NCAA tournament where like the offense would just go to him every possession because nobody would want to defend him. So
Immovable. Yeah. Unstoppable force.
all right. All right. Got to stop yapping about the Mavs here. All right. Cool. Now to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Really, really exciting. We're going to talk about the Spurs and the Timberwolves first and then delve into the Cleveland and the
Hmm.
Pistons series. I think more so the discussion will be focused on the Timberwolves. Um, it's kind of rough when you have your guy, technically he's coming off of an injury, but when he goes up after the series and say, I just tip my cap to them, they were just a better team. How often do you hear that from Anthony Edwards, who's like
Yeah.
always motivated, always uber confident? Like that is rough.
Rare.
To be
Yeah.
honest, I think this series should have gone 5, but obviously with the Wemby elbow, which is
Hmm.
crazy. I did not see that coming out of like the meditation monk. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But talk to me about what you learned from the series, and you can go deep into the Spurs under last night. You can go to the Timberwolves and what they need to do. Um, Floor is open.
Yeah. More of the Timberwolves, I guess, is just it really brings into question what is the move now? Where are we going? Julius Randle had a really bad showing there at the end, and it just brings it kind of and just reading through Twitter, right? People are just like, oh, anytime anyone loses in the playoffs, everyone just wants to like go look through all their mistakes, kind of like see what they did wrong, why they're here. And they were saying like one thing is that the Rudy Gobert trade puts you in this spot where you ran out of picks and now you're expensive. You had to get rid of Cap for a cheaper deal in Randall, and now you're here and you're losing.
And they
And
were drafting really well too with the picks they did
yeah,
have.
yeah, McDaniels and whatnot. So it's just it's so tough, and you miss on the Dillingham pick there. You have to trade with San Antonio to get that pick. It's it's just a bit confusing, and it makes you worried what's Ant gonna do in the future. And I feel like at some point, if the CBA doesn't change, someone's gonna have to go into the tax if you really want, or go into the second apron if you really want to be good, and that might bite you. It feels so like you have to be so lucky. The Spurs are infinitely lucky to have gotten what the first, I think the fifth, and then the second pick in 3 straight years to get
Yeah.
a generational trio. I don't like. I don't think the Mavs are as lucky getting one jump 10 spots. I don't think it's as lucky as that, as what the Spurs have done.
I mean, they did have less than a 1% chance, buddy. Yeah, but I hear the probabilities over the collection of 3 years. Probably
Yeah.
had the better argument there, but um,
It's just
yeah.
wild. So I just don't know what's gonna happen with the Timberwolves. It's confusing, but they had to deal Randall, I feel like, but just unfortunate how it worked out too.
I I think where the Western Conference is headed, barring injury, of course, is like You know how Golden State was dominating during the dynasty?
Yeah.
Like nobody could touch them except the San Antonio Spurs with Kawhi. The 62
Yeah.
game, like they only had that shot. It feels like the conference is just like two teams and potentially three,
Hmm.
and that is like a really healthy Nuggets team.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to throw a fourth one in there with the Rockets because there's still an unknown with Fred VanVleet,
Hmm.
and that's a massive player for them. We saw that last season,
Yeah.
like how it looked without him. But that's really it. Like, and like you were mentioning, is if you can't develop the talent to be on par with what the Spurs and the Thunder throw in their top 10 lineups, you're not
Hmm.
beating them. Not beating
Yeah.
them because Shea will go out and the Thunder increase their margin of lead. And same with the Spurs. Like the Spurs are not only Wemby dependent. He's a
Hmm.
massive difference maker in their defense. You saw that constantly.
Yeah.
Like he had what, 12 blocks by like three quarters or something like that. It was insane. Like the first game, and they lost that one, which is crazy. But
Hmm.
like you got Castle, Vassell, um, Harper, Champagne, like Keldon Johnson coming off the bench. Oh yeah, I forgot about the guy who was hurt, but they still managed to win without him. De'Aaron
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah.
There's just so many weapons and like the philosophy around those players outside of
Hmm.
Wemby is well constructed for both the Thunder and the Spurs. So
It's
it
just
makes
yeah.
wonder. Like I like Chris Finch as a coach. He
Hmm.
has really really good defensive schemes that make you wonder. Like I didn't think they could do that
Yeah.
against the Spurs, and at times it was working.
Hmm.
But I just think they caught themselves in the hole where it's like they were drafting well, but they didn't have that many picks because they sacrificed them.
Yep.
And I want to point to two players, and they're pretty big ones when you think about where the league is headed and why I was talking about Yaxel. Julius Randle and Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Like when you have two superstars, one of which was like your top most like asset worthy player by money and like how many picks you gave up for him, Rudy Gobert. Like he had a great series against Jokic. He had a terrible season. It's like he had a terrible series against Wemby.
Oh yeah.
Like, that was it reminded you of when it was like on the Utah Jazz and you couldn't like play him. Like
Hmm.
I much rather like Nas Reed than both of those players right now because
Yeah.
he can defend. He's a 3-and-D player and he's a very physical player too.
Hmm.
You're kind of expecting that out of Julius Randle because at times like he was the antidote. I talked about it. It's like if they're winning, it's because Julius Randle is leading the way with how they're going to
Hmm.
get buckets. What did you do in the last game? You went 1 for 8. He did not help Edwards or the team at all, and
Yeah.
it's made a difference. Like that's I think it's just a talent and depth conversation here.
Yeah, agreed. Especially with the injuries to the guards, you're down so many guys there. But yeah, like Rudy Gobert, he can go against Jokic, who he's still a new age center, but his biggest thing is that he's strong and he's big, and he shoots the three well. But sometimes if you leave him open, he's gonna start missing him. That's where Rudy Gobert shines. And against an actual alien, I think it just shows you the best defensive team in the league last year, the team that won the championship almost, well, not very easily, but was head and shoulders above the rest all of last regular season. Now is facing like a nexus event of a player, and that I think that's what we're all scared of, right? What is gonna happen? And I'm just telling you, like I was texting you earlier, I just don't get how the Western Conference has just always been so much better than the East. And I don't know if you're a Western Conference team that's not OKC or San Antonio, you've got to be so sad that you've got to pull something out of somewhere to try to even get to a conference finals at this
You're
point.
screwed the next 10, 15 years. And in
Yeah,
OKC's case, like they can prolong the first round picks thing for like the
yeah.
next 20 years with that Paul George trade. It's just insane.
Hmm.
But I do want to say this. I I think the thing I appreciated the most was like how Wemby himself developed
Yeah.
from game one to the rest of the series. You can and maybe game five too. You can see how, or maybe was it game four yellow? I think it was game four yellow. But like
Hmm.
you could see how the physicality got to him early in the series, where it's just like, oh, Minnesota's making this a series.
Yeah.
Like they're playing physical, things are working. Chris Finch is calling a really, really good defensive game plan, and they were getting under Wemby's skin. And you
Hmm.
really see that, like in his career so far, because he's been a very stoic player, peaceful player. Like he
Yeah.
went to train with the Shaolin monks over the summer to work on his mental well-being, and you could just see him get flustered early in the series, and then you started to see how it clicked for him. Just saw game one last night, saw the
Yeah.
end of the series, like where it's just
Yeah.
like you just brings this like hopelessness feeling in the opposing competition
Hmm.
because he's not going to get rattled.
Yeah.
He's like Donovan Mitchell, not going to get rattled, except he's like what 7'4".
That bro, I'm telling you, he's not. He's 7'7", bro. They're gonna remeasure him at some point, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, he's 7'7". He's insane. He's absolutely huge."
He's officially listed as 7'4",
Yeah.
but he doesn't play like that. He plays like he's just like a totem pole, like a moving totem pole with like flexible limbs.
Wait, because there's this image of Wemby next to Boban. Supposedly, that was just like, oh, there's no way. So yeah, standing at 7'4", veteran center Boban Mariano just famously expressed shock when he had to look up at 7'5" Victor Wembanyama because Wemby's height allows him to appear noticeably taller. Yeah, and some people speculate he's 7'7". Like he's got a, he's only 22. Because some people keep growing later and later, so who knows, man? But yeah,
He's gotta like examine the discs in his back and see how much he could separate them.
right,
Like, it's crazy. Wow.
wild stuff. But yeah, I guess that's most of that. Rip the Timberwolves. See you next year. They're gonna have nice jerseys next year. They're gonna have the timber, like the pine tree jersey, like trims on all their jerseys now. It's gonna be so sick.
The tree Zine, is that what it's called?
I don't know what they're called, but it's like that. That I guess it's a Kevin Garnett retro. But
Oh,
yeah,
you're talking about the green, like the dark green collars and like the dark
yeah, yeah,
jerseys they had.
yeah. I think
Those
they're
look
gonna have
really
the
cool.
yeah black, white, and blue. I think they're gonna have it next year.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it'd be good. Yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, tough series for the Timberwolves. They're a great team, but like obviously there's a lot more work to be done
yeah,
around them. Pistons, I know you're hurting about it.
bro, that
Let
was
it out,
insane.
Diego. Let it out. What's going on here?
Just it just shows you well, one, when your second best player becomes unplayable, and then Tobias Harris has to carry, but then can't carry there in the end. Just so sad. And one thing I saw online was it showed difficulty of shots. I think it's the x-axis, and then shooting percentage. And difficult. Cade was like shooting some really tough shots, and he's making a good efficiency of them. But it's just the life you have to live when you're the only guy who can create. Like you bring Dennis Jenkins. I've loved Dennis Jenkins, but he is not like a starting level shooting guard. He can't create like that. His shot is fine, but it's not that great. He's a bit small. It just it just screams we need someone else. And it's just so tough because Cade really did everything he could. The turnovers were there, but at you can even refer that back to not having a second best player. I saw a tweet last night where it's like, how many of the players? There might be 10 players, 8 players, 7 players on that court that could be Detroit's second best player right there, just adding them. And I thought that was a crazy take because Dylan Harper, he could be the second best player on the Pistons because he can score, he rebounds, he defends.
AJ Mitchell.
Yeah, AJ Mitchell for he's making pennies compared to what Jalen Duren is. And I watched the at lunch. I watched the Detroit offseason. Jalen Duren, if he makes All NBA, could have a 4-year, $287 million contract. That's the max they could sign him for. There's absolutely no way in any world that's he's getting that. He's lost himself at least $100 million just off
Yeah.
this, just off not even a month. Not even a month of ball, my guy. But I think they're gonna keep him. But it just brings up all these questions of what are you gonna do now, and who are you gonna pick up? Because I think you have to do something here because the East is definitely gonna be tighter next year. But you won 60 games. Now I think you need to get away from only being defense to where I watch you play offense and I want to puke. Like
Yeah.
that's something. I- And is taking is firing JB Bickerstaff on the in the cards.
Yo,
Is that a
what?
possibility?
That is okay. I think you're overreacting here a little bit,
I
man.
need some offense, my guy. Like it's just and I appreciate he's brought that culture, but maybe you don't need to fire him, but you need to bring someone in that is just an offensive mind because at the end in game 7, K's just getting doubled. He can't do anything. He's stuck in a phone booth. You need to have a plan for that. That has to be expected in some way, shape, or form that they are going to do that at some point. And it just didn't work and didn't happen. So, yeah.
I think the thing that obviously Jordan, you hit the nail on the head there. Like
Yeah.
Pistons would go stretches without scoring, and like it's crazy because you're waiting for them to come back. You're cutting it to 17, cutting it to 15, and then
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell just has an explosive quarter. Jarrett Allen just has crazy stretch of moments in the game. Evan Mobley
Hmm.
played one of his best games in the series.
Yep.
Double double with
That was
22
amazing.
points. They didn't need James Harden to flame out. Like
Yeah.
they didn't need him. Their full team playing and Merrill like balled out as well. I had to mention
Right.
that too.
That was amazing.
Um, yeah, I think with Detroit, like I just saw a lot of weird stuff. Like
Hmm.
since when did Cade start turning the ball over like as much as he did? That was like
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting that. Like I'm gonna look at the box score right now to see like how many turnovers he had. He had offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, turnovers. He had 3, but it felt like those 3 were like game changing moments,
Hmm.
like in the game.
Yeah.
And obviously, when your second and your third best players don't show up at all, Tobias Harris going 0 for 6 in 22 minutes, Jalen Duren going for 3 for 7 in 25, not really going to the free throw line. Um, yeah, that's not a recipe for disaster. Like that's not a recipe for success. So
Yep.
um, you can't have your offense be Dennis Jenkins get a spark going in the beginning of the game, which he did a phenomenal job. Cade, you're the offensive guy, run the offensive
Hmm.
win, and then Duncan Robinson just spray a couple threes. It's never
Yeah.
going to work.
Yeah. It's tough and like Asar Thompson as well. It's so great defensively, but the one flash of greatness I saw is he caught a pass. He did this is like a Draymond action where he'll catch a pass and obviously they're not guarding him, but then he takes a dribble towards Draymond takes a dribble towards Steph, but in this case it's towards Cade. And that's exactly what we need. And I think I just don't get how you're such a bad shooter when you're so athletic, but just even if that's the case, I just want all Asar Thompson needs to do this summer is just shoot 500 free throws a day.
Oh,
That's it. Because
500. Wow.
at least, man, like it takes 20. I can shoot 50 free throws in 20 minutes. Like it can't be that hard. Like I just don't understand how you as a hyper athletic beast can't focus on like dribbling as well and get around guys and just dunk or create for others. I feel like that could have
Yeah,
been
yeah, he's in his
possible.
second year, man. Like it's the
Second
same
year,
argument with football. You see like
I guess.
Saquon Barkley coming out, like you see all these like Bijan Robinson coming out, like Ashton Genty last season coming out, and you're like, oh, these guys are about to break the league like
Yeah,
by storm. And it's part of the journey as an athlete where like you have to realize you can't win by your athleticism alone. You need to have ingrained skills and techniques. And I think Asar
yeah.
Thompson is trying to figure that out.
I hope so.
And you can see he's a willing offensive player to try new things. It's just that the refinement and the repetition of skill, to your point, is not up to that point where it's like ingrained in
Yeah,
muscle memory. It feels
yeah,
like he's going supersonic speed, but doesn't know how to
Hmm.
control the speed into like rhythm shots.
Yeah, yeah, that as well. It's just I'm telling you, if I'm the Pistons, I'm getting whatever the next best shot coach, shot doctor. I'm going like you and him are being locked in the gym an hour a day. Like,
If you want to work on your shots, Des Kennedy is a good follow, by the way. He has
yeah.
a lot of great like shooting drills that I practice with.
Hmm.
Um, I think it's DES, and then Kennedy, like John F. Kennedy's last name, and
Yeah.
then underscore at the end.
Oh,
He has a lot of creative shooting drills. Just want to plug that out there.
it's pretty real.
Asar, follow that,
Yeah,
please.
lock in as our wild. So yeah,
So the,
unfortunately
the
the loss.
Cavs angle of it, like we're
Hmm.
gonna see in 15 minutes what they do.
Yeah,
But
man.
what stood out to them about this game?
Um, in Game 7, just Sam Merrill. I didn't know Sam Merrill when he plays. The Cavs were 37-15. This was sometime during the series, and when he's not playing, they're 15-15. Like I just thought he was a shooter, and it just looks like that. But yeah, the way he can just shoot, it's so smooth and compact a shot. He's very good. And Donovan Mitchell exploding. But the biggest thing, like you said, Evan Mobley really creating in that Game 5 win here in Detroit. He hit a clutch three. When who would have thought that? He had like 8 or something assists. Like this is what we've been
6,
asking
but
for.
close. Yeah.
Yeah. Um so and maybe like you said, right? I'm expecting too much, but I like imagine I see these players and even in the draft with the prospects, I see what they do and I'm like, man, I could just imagine. I dream of what they will do. And when they don't hit that, I'm just like, come on, like this is all you do, my guy. Like do the thing. Like get better. So happy for Evan Mobley. I don't even think they really need Harden. I think that's what you said, right? In the last game.
Yeah.
So
He was
it's
2 for 10, 0 for 6 from 3. Well, basically a classic game hard James Harden no show.
yeah. Yeah, man. Big series for them coming up. Big game, right? In MSG.
But the one thing they have going for them is like I was arguing with this with a friend at work lunch. It's like, who are you going to put on Mobley?
Yeah.
Because whoever you do put on Mobley, if you're the Knicks, like that's one less person that's going to be guarding James Harden or Donovan Mitchell, one of the two.
Right.
That you got to pick your poison. So I was going to talk about Spurs and Thunder, but I guess we can preview the Knicks and the Pistons now since we're Knicks and Cavs.
Yeah.
We're kind of rolling into that stretch of it. Um, who do you have favorite in the series? And like, could you see the other team making it to the NBA Finals? What are the key
Uh,
factors you're looking for to make that decision?
I think right now in my head is the Knicks. And I feel gross even saying it, but they're playing so well. But I could see the Cavs winning just because well, first I picked the Knicks because so Harden and Mitchell, you got Mikal and Josh Hart right there. I mean, who's their other star? It's Mikal. Oh, Jalen Brunson. Right. Then who do you hide Brunson on? Struess, but Struess could still do a little something. Then you have OG guarding Mobley and Cat guarding Jared Allen. I just think the cat creation might be too much. And in the Cavs starting lineup, who's the defender there? Who's the defender on Brunson? Donovan Mitchell? That's kind of tough. He's not gonna be able to cook at that point, and if he's getting guarded by Mikal, so I feel like this
Well,
is
are we sure
where
it's going to be Mikal? Because what if Mikal's guarding Evan Mobley?
that would
You're
be
gonna OG Anunoby on Mitchell then? Like who's guarding James Harden? Who's guarding the Max Juice
Josh
or
Hart.
Sam Mail, the shooter? Like
Yeah, that's the thing. It feels because of how much wing depth the Knicks have. It feels very interesting to see where they'll do it, where they'll go, and that's something I'll be watching here. But I'm just going to go for the Knicks. We'll give them the finals berth. I'll give them the finals berth here. But I still think they either of these teams. Ugh, I think either of these teams gets wiped by by the Spurs low key. But it feels tough. But bright side is there's a high chance that we don't get a repeat champion. So that's what I'm hoping for. But
That's
yeah,
all you're
I'm
hoping
picking
for here.
Knicks. Yeah.
I will say this: the Cavs did win the one meeting where after they acquired James Harden against the Knicks.
Mm,
They met 3 times. Knicks won the series 2-1, but I think that's an important piece of information we
yep,
can't overlook.
definitely.
I think the Cavs' offense is to not be underestimated. I think the
Yeah.
Knicks are in like complete rhythm on both sides of the ball, but all it takes is the Cavs just seizing momentum on the road for one game
Yep.
and just taking the will out of the New York crowd with the physicality their bigs play with.
Hmm.
I think New York will struggle a lot to contain Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. You saw how Jared Allen was just balling on Jalen Duren. Like the
Yeah.
physicality differences didn't seem to matter to him at all.
Yep.
Um, and he was just a man on a mission. And it's going to take a full effort for whoever plays the Cavs to like beat him in the series. That's just how I feel about it.
No, agreed. It's seeing Jared Allen be that physical against Jalen Duren was huge. And Karl Anthony Towns will give him will beat him sometimes, but I don't think it'll be as one sided as you might think. So that's really big. And Jared Allen's really come to into his own in this playoffs and having a big, I think game 7 or game 5, game 7, and having a big game 7 also against Toronto. So he's ready for the moment. The lights are not too bright anymore. I think he actually talked about that quote. So it's so funny. And against a team that I think in 2023 eliminated them. Yeah. So it's 3 years coming. Different teams, but the same general core, and I'm interested to see where this goes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think the one thing to keep your eyes on, obviously, we keep saying with the Knicks is like, how do the Cavs attack Towns and Brunson? But
Yeah.
then the other thing too is that's really interesting is um, the Knicks defense has allowed 0.85 points per chance when a ball screen by
That's insane.
the opposing team that Brunson and Towns are defending
Mhm.
has led directly to shot, turnover, or getting free throws.
Okay.
And the Knicks opponents have shot 31.2% from 3-point range and 31.7% on wide open attempts. Those are
Yep.
not great numbers considering that's like the one weakness on the Knicks defense. That's everybody knows. Um, it's fully dependent on how the Knicks are planning to defend,
Yep.
like Brunson and Towns in the pick and roll. But I can see that get very problematic very quickly when you're successful getting Evan Mobley on a Donovan Mitchell. What am I saying? Jalen
On
Brunson.
Brunson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
on Brunson.
Um, the one and a big reason I think it was on a B-ball breakdown video was the what the Knicks are doing is they're over helping, right? They see they see a cat involved or Brunson involved pick and roll, and they start to overhelp a little bit and help to be there and have the only thing open be a long pass to the other side. And it's possible, but then you're just back to where you were and with a suboptimal player that can't create. And that's what the Knicks are doing. And it's on the Cavs to see that and say, okay, if that's what you're going to give us, let's make it more difficult. Let's move. Because if you do that screen and no one moves, it's so easy. It's so easy to pre like rotate and cover up these holes and kind of plug it all up. But if Kenny Atkinson, a good offensive coach in my opinion, sees that and makes a plan and has everyone on the same page, they could dice it up because you didn't get rid of the problem. You're just hiding it very well. And yeah, the Sixers weren't necessarily able to attack it, and the Hawks definitely were not. So this is I think this is the best offensive team that the Knicks have played so far. So they'll definitely be challenged
100%.
here.
I think one thing. I'm trying to pull up the game real quick. Oh no, it's not on Peacock. Okay,
Yeah,
gotta
it's
gotta
on
watch elsewhere.
TV.
Okay. The one thing I noticed when reading about the preview between these two teams is rebounds.
Hmm.
And like of all the players that have averaged more than 10 minutes in the playoffs, New York has 3 that rank in the top 11 in offensive rebound percentage.
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson, Jordan
Cat.
Clarkson, and Karl Anthony Towns, and they're all like
Jordan
above 10%.
Clarkson.
What's
Jordan Clarkson's
interesting
disgusting.
is the
Yeah.
Cavs had one of the best defensive rebounding percentages in the regular season
Mm.
and against the Knicks during the regular season. That it ranked sixth at 70.3%. They get
Oh,
70% of like all the rebounds
yeah.
after defensive possession. But so far in these playoffs, they've ranked like middle of the road, like 14th.
Right.
Or no, I guess in this case it'd be towards
Bottom.
the bottom, like 65.2. Um, so which version of the cast we're going to get? Because if Mobley and Allen are able to hold their ground and play
Mm.
with physicality against these wings and bigs, the Cavs can limit a lot of the damage New York does, considering New York uses up like 18 seconds off the shot clock usually.
Yeah.
But they somehow get a Bridges cut, a Josh Hart like timely three, or
Mm.
more often than not, Jalen Brunson just being Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
So limiting New York to one possession is going to be huge for the Cavs.
Yep. I think in Game 7, one stat that they talked about was the Cavs usually were able to hold. What was it? The Cavs were usually only getting 67% of their defensive rebounds, right? Up to Game 6 or Game 5 or whatever. And in Game 7, they were getting 85%, limiting that huge thing that the Pistons need, right? Because if you don't hit shots, it's really helpful if you grab that offensive rebound and make a shot out of that. But if that's cut off, that's that's the what's it called? That's turning off the water. That's like, man, I have to make this shot first try. And for the Pistons, it's like draw 12 or make shot first time, and it's draw 12, man.
Is that
Like,
an Uno reference?
yeah. I was thinking of some other meme, but that was probably the best one. But yeah, it's tough, bro. So if they proved it in Game 7, let's see if they come back. And I think it's a similar vibe. The offense is better for the Knicks than the Pistons, but I think they're able to do it. These Caps. I would like the Caps to win just because you know how I am about anti-Knicks. But either way, the Cavs will win. It'll be crazy historic, or the Knicks will win, and we'll get some awesome clips of everyone celebrating in around MSG.
Want to know what my Google query is right now?
I'm so scared of what it may be.
Oh wait, no, I typed it in wrong. What I'm
Tough.
trying to ask is, when's the last time the Cavs have been to the NBA Finals without LeBron?
Ooh, I don't even know if they had. No, they won. Was it? No, it was a 50-year championship drought. I don't think they have. They went to the conference finals last time without LeBron in 1992 with
Yes. Yep.
Brad Daugherty and what Mark Price, Larry Nance, and Larry Nance is also on this Cavs team. Larry Nance Jr. per se, but not at the same capability as his father. I don't think they have because they haven't had a great history, as you could tell.
Yeah, they didn't get their first championship until 2016, but I'm wondering if they played in the finals since then. But it'd have to be before 1992. So I
I
don't know
don't
the
think
answer.
so.
Yeah, I don't think they
For
have. So
for sure they haven't.
1992 is the last time they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals. So this is like crazy moment for them.
Yeah. Just off the top of my head, I know for sure they weren't in the finals like after 1970. So, and they probably weren't in the 60s having to fight with Bill Russell. So, yeah,
Not a guy I want to beef with. I'll just say that.
right. For sure.
All right. Completely forgetting that we're going to the conference championships. All right, game one. Yet last night.
Yeah, man.
What a game! Just I had to rewatch
Caked
the
up.
highlights again to
Yeah.
understand like what truly happened because
Hmm.
it felt like Alex Caruso just like hit like a million bajillion threes, and then all of a sudden the game ends and you're like Wemby's blocking everything, but then you're
Yeah.
like, how does he have 41 points and 24 rebounds? And you're like, oh yeah, you forget that even against this Thunder team, all you got to do is just throw it above the backboard, and it's suddenly an alley oop. Like, how many humans can do that? And you know, this podcast is a Wemby lover.
Yeah,
Like that's no secret. We've been doing it for years. But
centuries.
talk to me about what kind of statement win this was for the Spurs, whether the Thunder are cooked or like it's just going to 7 and then whoever like has the better defense that game wins. Well, what's going on?
Yeah. I don't think the Thunder are cooked, but it's such a punch in the mouth. It feels exactly like that Nuggets series last year, where a different. I mean, similar somewhat in the sense that you have a chance, you have the game, and then you give it up with an Aaron Gordon three at the end. But in this case, it's a Wemby Steph double bang esque shot, and it's the longest shot he's ever made in his NBA career, and the biggest shot. Like that's insane.
I
But
think was that from the same spot that Steph Curry hit the
it's
three?
around there. It's a bit shorter,
Okay.
but it's in the area, right? So, and I think it shows, right? The Spurs are like Caruso. Shoot as many threes as you want. Do that all the time if you want to, because we know the math, and you're not that good of a shooter. And maybe he has a PJ Washington series, but they're fine with that. They're gonna keep working this zone where Wemby is just staying on the weak side corner, and they're doing anything to make sure he stays there. No matter what happens, he's gonna stay there and help, and you're gonna get blocked. And I think just the ability of every one of their players, like Steph Castle and Dylan Harper both having over 20 points at this young age in a Western Conference Finals is mind-boggling, and
They're not scared of anybody.
they're not.
And you know
Even
who's
with
not
the
scared of
competition.
anybody? We didn't even talk about him when we were talking about the Spurs for as long as we did. And I love this player personally.
Keldon
Like
Johnson.
he no,
Oh,
Carter Bryant. We have
yeah.
not mentioned Carter
And
Bryant on this podcast till now. And
yeah,
he's the defense he was playing on Shea was just insane.
yeah,
Insane. Like it was like he's beating him to the spot. He was like contesting every single off ball action Shea would have. And like you could feel the impact he was having in the middle of the
mhm,
game. And um, yeah, like again, the Spurs are exactly built like the Thunder and they have Wemby.
yeah,
But I will say this, just like I said, it was a Julius Randle type of game that will
yeah,
determine the series. Chet Holmgren might determine like how the series goes
right.
because he might be the only other player in the league who could like even sniff the amount of blocks that Wemby has in the game,
Yep.
and he can block Wemby. We've seen that. Like he settled the game, like kept it at overtime, like I or double OT, I forget. Um, but it was like clutch blocks, like
Hmm.
clutch defense at times. Like I'm all for it. I just hope this goes 7 games and like keeps people on their like on their toes because to me, I said this before the game started. This is the NBA Finals this year.
Yep.
Unless the Knicks and the Spurs happen to meet up, like the Knicks actually won that series in the
Yeah.
in-season tournament. So not completely ruling it out, but this feels like it's the NBA Finals with how intense the games have been played. And obviously, we'll see what we learn out of the Cavs and Knicks, who are going to play in a couple minutes. But yeah,
Yeah, man. It's exciting. This is gonna be such a generational series, and it could be the real rivalry that is just gonna keep going for years because Shea's gonna keep getting better for years. Wemby's gonna be around for the next 10, 15 years just like this. So
AJ
yeah,
Mitchell, Jared McCain,
yeah,
Casey Wallace. Like, do I need to keep going?
yeah. No need.
Alrighty. With that, hope you guys enjoy the game. It's coming up in a couple minutes. And Diego, who you got winning game one?
I got the Cavs. Make it spicy.
Really?
Yeah,
But you have the Knicks winning series.
yeah.
I
Just
gotta say
got
the
that.
Knicks here. I just think the Cavs played 2 days ago, back to back game
Right.
seven so far in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, took
It's
a little
tough.
bit for them to find their rhythm. I think they'll have to learn how to win on the road in New York, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen immediately. So, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. We'll see how it goes.
Alrighty, guys. You know the drill. Follow us on our Amana Mission podcast.
Yep.
Have the Instagram handle have the full length YouTube videos. Enjoy the games, and until then, see you next week with what we have found in the middle of the playoffs. Hopefully, we've still got series going 6 or 7 games here.
Yeah, hopefully. See y'all later.